Hi, I'm Heidi Hewitt, AutoCAD Technical Marketing Manager at Autodesk, and I'm here with Guillermo Melantoni, Senior Product Manager of User Interaction and Interoperability at Autodesk. Guillermo, how can our users take advantage of 2D parametric functionality when they're doing 3D modeling in AutoCAD? Is it possible?
So are you asking if we have parametric modeling?
Yeah.
Well, we kind of do. Yeah, so especially for surfaces, which if we think about associativity in surfaces, and we think about the fact that parametric drawing takes advantage of the associative framework, which is basically the engine that handles relationships between parts, right? And then we can kind of tie those two concepts together. We can think this way. When you're doing surface associativity, basically you're driving a surface based on a curve. The curve normally lies within a plane, right? So nothing is preventing you from creating parametric relationships within that plane. For example, even the most simple thing, a rectangle, right? Rectangle can have 2 dimensions, associative dimensions. You could add a circle in the center or whatever, right? And then all that things are driven either by user parameters or by those relationships. If you start building with those things, for example, you made a planar surface with the rectangle, and then you made a trim with a circle, right? And then, for example, all that ends up in an extrusion or something like that. The changes on the parameters on the circle and the rectangle will impact on the surfaces because there's associativity in the surface. So we do have parametric modeling with surfaces in AutoCAD 2011, and it can be really, really powerful if you understand both concepts. Parametric drawing, like how we started in 2010, and the associativity within surfaces.
And do you have any tips as far as the ribbon or the user access to parameters for 3D modeling?
Yeah, sure. If you go to the 3D modeling workspace, you may find some difficulties in checking where's the parametric functionalities. They're not there. They are on the 2D parametric drawing because that was meant for, right? So you can just go to CUI, drag the parametric tab into your workspace, and you're done. You basically have the parametric functionalities on the ribbon on your 3D modeling workspace or in whichever workspace you customized. And the other thing it would be nice to make sure you understand is the expressions, right? Because as I said, you can drive the parametric surfaces with those with the constraints, right? But you can also add user parameters. For example, height, right? Instead of putting height 8 meters, for example, you could say, okay, height is going to be a user variable. So when you make the extrusion of that curve that's also driven by a parameter, and instead of putting a height, you just type the word height as a variable, then you can go back to your parameters manager, put a value on that, or make an expression. For example, the height is going to be twice the size of the width or whatever. And in that way, you can add a lot of functionality into those parametric surfaces.
So even if users haven't defined specific constraints, dimensional constraints, they can still create those user constraints that they then use to drive them in those expressions.
Absolutely.
Or a combination.
It's very flexible. It's combination, it's one of them, it's both of them. Whatever you want, whatever you feel free and comfortable with, you can do it.
Great. Wonderful tips, kind of a hidden treasure there in AutoCAD.